But thank you all so much for joining us for today's program, Online Reputation Management for Job Seekers. Employers leverage technology to learn as much as possible about job candidates, hoping to avoid the extreme mistake of making a bad hire. However, most of us do not carefully manage our online visibility, so we can disqualify ourselves from a job because of our online activities. In this session, learn how to manage your online reputation to minimize mistakes that may cost you future opportunities. And this is led by Susan Joyce, who's the president of NETability and the former publisher and editor of jobhunt.org. So, all 80 of us who are watching live and the many more that will watch the recording, let's give a big virtual round of applause to Susan for joining us this morning. And Susan, you can take it away. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Robert. I hope you can hear me okay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. This is such an important topic. I remember, I hate to say, a few decades ago when I was in HR at Harvard, we did background checks for only very, very, very senior jobs. He was coming in as an assistant dean or something, or, a really important job because it cost a lot of money to have companies do those background checks. It is so easy now. We have Google, and that's made life much more complicated for all of us, but a lot easier for HR to a certain degree. So we'll get into the details on that. I was fortunate enough to know a guy named Dick Bowles who wrote What Color's Your Parachute? And he actually said this to me in 2009. And at the time I thought, oh my gosh, he's right. And boy, was he right as usual about so many things. Google is the new resume. Think about that. Keep that in your mind. It's also your business card. A bad hire is a very expensive mistake. And employers don't want to make that mistake at every level. And now they have Google, so they don't have to just do the very senior jobs, they can do every job. Their primary concerns are, can you do this job? Will you do this job? And will you fit into the group? And it's interesting, but many studies have shown the vast majority of employers would rather miss a good hire than make a bad hire, because the bad hire is so expensive. Now, this is interesting data from some recent surveys. 94% of employers recruit with social media. 84% have eliminated candidates based on what they found in social media. 60% of recruiters ignore candidates they can't find online. So being invisible is not a good idea. And more than 70% of employers research candidates before hiring them, either before the interview invitation or before the job offer, or both. And 88% of employers fire employees based on bad social media posts. So don't just worry about it before you're hired, pay attention to it afterwards. Employers use Google to find you or someone else, confirm the facts on your resume or not, observe your skills, your behavior, how you respond, how you spell, and confirm your ethics. Are you somebody that they want to hire? And also observe how others view you. What they're looking for. Is there a reason not to hire you? They're also looking for proof that you're up to date with technology, because if you're not up to date with technology today, there's very few jobs you can do. Even in a lot of cases, even being a waiter or a waitress requires some knowledge of technology. Demonstrate your ability to communicate and your knowledge, and indications of your personality. Are you nasty? Are you doing anything illegal? They don't want that either, of course. what they don't want to find. Marijuana use, political rants. And I have a feeling this survey is a couple of years old. I have a feeling political rants not being wanted. I have a suspicion that that number's gone up. Spelling and grammar errors. They really don't want that. Alcohol consumption. Showing off wealth, showing too much skin, posting selfies. So things to pay attention to. Which of the tactics do you use for recruiting on social networks? Notice which social network is first, LinkedIn. And I'll get into LinkedIn a lot more in a few minutes. They search for candidates on LinkedIn. They contact candidates on LinkedIn. They keep tabs on candidates on LinkedIn. They also post jobs on LinkedIn. And they vet candidates on LinkedIn before the interview. They do very little, like 32% vet candidates on Facebook. And I have a feeling the Twitter numbers have dropped since Twitter became X. So you need to build a positive online reputation that supports your career and your job search. So put yourself in the seat of the recruiter, bearing in mind how bad it is to hire the wrong person. Who would you interview? You've got 10 applicants, and that's usually a much bigger number. But let's just assume you have 10 applicants and they all meet the qualifications for the job. 3 have LinkedIn profiles, which provide rich detail about their knowledge, recommendations, examples of their communication skills, their personalities, and their accomplishments. 3 have skimpy LinkedIn profiles without a headshot or any recommendations. Recommendations are very important. Every recruiter I've spoken with highlights recommendations. They look for those. 2 have LinkedIn profiles with bad grammar, misspellings, and out-of-date terminology. And 3 can't be found on LinkedIn. Who would you interview? You'd interview the first 3, of course. And so do recruiters. So why LinkedIn? LinkedIn is really, it's kind of a gift to us. It's a job. You know, when you've got nothing else to do, you can work on your LinkedIn profile. It's your best visibility inside Google. Recruiters trust and use LinkedIn. Google puts public LinkedIn profiles on the first page of search results. You can have a private LinkedIn profile, but that's not really a good idea for 99.99% of us. You want a public profile because that will show up in Google search results on the first page and usually very near the top of the first page. And you control what LinkedIn tells the world about you. That's the beauty of it. 60% of recruiters will ignore you if they can't find you online, and they really obviously like LinkedIn. If you have bad visibility offline, you can push it off Google's first page of search results with your LinkedIn profile. If you do Amazon reviews, you can write Amazon books, post on LinkedIn or your own blog, do videos on YouTube or TikTok, do guest posts other places, or have other nice, clean, professional social media visibility. Facebook, Google does put Facebook generally on the first page, Instagram, GitHub. The good news is once you push it off the first page, most people don't see it because very few of us look at the second page of Google search results. So LinkedIn provides what's known as social proof. Close to 100% of recruiters Google applicants. Google trusts LinkedIn. That's why it's on the first page of results. And LinkedIn offers us many opportunities to share our accomplishments and demonstrate our knowledge. So it's great personal marketing. If recruiters can't find anything about you, they will ignore you. And LinkedIn is right now the most credible proof you can have. The social media platforms preferred by hiring managers. Again, this is a recruiter company survey. from a couple of years ago. You can see LinkedIn is at the top. Excuse me, your LinkedIn profile is your resume on steroids. Think of it that way. And it has much more credibility and space than resumes. And people ask me, why does LinkedIn have more credibility? It's because you're putting your LinkedIn profile in public, so your friends and family see it, people who know better see it. So people do lie on LinkedIn occasionally, but they don't seem to lie as often on LinkedIn as they do on their resumes or their job applications. Now, keywords are so important these days, and keywords are search terms. So your most important keywords, if you're looking for a job, use the job title. Words are generic, experienced marketing professional, manager, or much, much, much worse, manger. I used to search LinkedIn periodically for misspellings, and you'd be amazed how many mangers there are on LinkedIn. And they've got nothing to do with feeding animals. The right keywords show your value to the employer and have less competition and much more recruiter interest. Keep that in mind. It's such an instinct to be generic, but being generic is a very bad idea now. Be specific. You can change things. You can be an IT project manager now and a social media project manager next time. But you have to change everything to match the new goal, or the new role. But keep it consistent and don't be generic. Okay, words versus keywords. Marketing professional. Oh dear. Perfect timing. I'm sorry about this. I thought my computer was plugged in.
No worries, Susan, no worries.
Oh, it got unplugged. Excuse me a second.
We've all been there before, Susan.
I'm sorry. There we go. Hopefully that's better. So here, examples. How do I get rid of that? All right. Marketing professional. There's only one keyword there, and the word is marketing. And very few recruiters are going to search just for marketing. Social media marketing manager is better. That's a job title. So that's specific. Then social media marketing manager increased user reach and engagement in 6 months by over 50% through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, and Instagram without a cost increase. That shows the value proposition. That includes the accomplishments, and that has many more keywords like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, user reach, etc. So keep that in mind in your LinkedIn professional headline, because your LinkedIn professional headline is something that Google will show in search results. And it's certainly something that's very, very visible inside of LinkedIn. Your most important keywords, absolutely your name. Have only one version of your name for all of your professional visibility, including your LinkedIn profile, your resumes and applications. It's so annoying for recruiters to get a resume or an application and not be able to find the LinkedIn profile for that person because the names are different. I've spoken to so many job seekers. They think their LinkedIn profile is more is less formal than their resume. So on their resume, they're William Smith, but on their LinkedIn profile, they're Bill Smith. And even if you don't have such a generic name as Bill Smith, it's really, really hard often to find the right LinkedIn profile for the person with that name. So keep that name consistent. Put it on your business cards, include it in your email signature. Always have that version of your name visible. All your professional visibility online and off. Then practice what I call defensive Googling. A few years ago, people were basically denigrated for doing a Google search on their own name. I forget what it was called. Ego surfing, I think was the term used. I call it defensive Googling, and I think it's a very smart thing to do. There was a job seeker I worked with a few years ago, really bright guy in his late 20s, techie, got laid off by a company that went out of business. So he was looking for a job, and he had a good LinkedIn profile, he had good resumes, but he'd submit his resume and not get a response, submit an application and not get a response. He'd even call and they'd be very cordial over the phone and then he'd get no response. So we Googled his name and guess what? He had the same name of somebody who was convicted of a sexual offense in the same town where he lived. So he added his middle name to his resume and his LinkedIn profile, and he had a job within a month. It's that important. So be careful. Defensive Googling. Open a Google search page, type your name inside quotation marks, like I have my name typed here, and check the first 2 pages of results very carefully. There's now, I believe there's a Susan Joyce who's some sort of a TV star or something. And she dominates all the pages, all the Google search results page. But when you get to Susan P. Joyce, you do find me still. Look for anything negative about you or about someone else who uses that version of your name. And repeat this monthly. Now, there are things you can do when you find negative information, negative content, but I'll get into that later. If you find someone who an employer would not want to hire, then find a clean version of your name. Be more formal, be more complete, add your middle initial, your middle name, your maiden name if you're a woman, married woman, senior, junior, whatever, if you're a guy, or become less formal. In most cases, becoming more formal is the right thing to do, but it depends on whoever, if there's somebody really evil with the same name, it depends on which version they're using, of course. So recruiters search for qualified candidates using keywords in the job description. So job title, skills, experience, education, and certification. Also, the names of former employers are good. Other right keywords, look at the employer job descriptions. Include the skills that they have, that you have, that they want. And become a slash person. Funny job seeker a few years ago worked for a very cool company, and she was called an admin guru. Well, that was really an admin assistant job. So she became an admin guru slash admin assistant. Actually, I think we flipped it around, admin assistant slash admin guru. So become a slash person if you need to. And please, please, please spell everything correctly.
Susan, before we move on, a couple of questions about middle initials.
Yes.
So Kathleen asks, is using a middle initial, let me try again, is using a middle initial associated with ageism? There was a somewhat renowned person with my name who passed away recently, and I have debated about including my middle initial. Just curious.
I haven't heard middle initials associated with ageism. Have you, Robert?
I have not.
So I don't think that's an issue. I would check the background. I would Google the person who has died and see what's in Google about them. I mean, you wouldn't want to apply for a job and have somebody find an obituary. So I'd be a little careful about that. Hopefully they would know if they found an obituary and the obituary was, 2 weeks old, then a dead person wouldn't be applying for a job.
Yeah, and then Kathleen, Judy asks, I've discovered that there is someone else in the country with my not so common name. I've previously never used my middle initial on my resume or on LinkedIn before, but I'm wondering if I should update all to include it. The other person doesn't have
Yes,
anything. Okay, there you go. All
yes.
right. Well, yeah,
Would
yeah,
differentiate yourself from that other person. Absolutely.
yeah. Their point was there's nothing wrong with the other person. There's nothing negative online about them, but they're in a very different field of work. So,
Yeah, you want to be sure you're differentiated, that somebody doesn't find that and go, oh, why would this person apply for my job?
let's see. DL says, what about the same first and last name but different town, and
That
and very different ages as well? Whereas this person is much younger, but the person who shares a name is much older.
I would still differentiate myself from that other person. I mean, you don't know what they're going to do. And somebody who's doing quick research and they don't do thorough research, they just do quick research, and they find this other person first and they go, oh, they're not qualified for this job. And they don't bother to check and see that the towns are different or the states are different or the ages are different.
Yeah. So, Susan, I'd say keep on going. We do have a few other questions, but I think you might cover them in future slides. So keep on
Oh,
going.
okay, I hope so. Now, this a recruiter said to me a couple of weeks ago, your LinkedIn profile is now your business card. And basically, he's right. It's our business card. It's our public personas now. So you want, for an effective job search now, you need one clean version of your name. And you need a focused and a public LinkedIn profile. It's so easy to have a private LinkedIn profile, but that's absolutely a waste of time and energy. Don't have a private LinkedIn profile. Make it public. Resist the instinct to avoid online visibility. And I know so many people, they don't want to limit their options. They want to be sure that they're considered for every kind of job. And that's basically a dead end for most people. And don't argue and share your opinion about everything with everyone publicly. I mean, you can do it privately in email, or there are ways to communicate privately, even on Facebook, but be very careful about that. Do it privately, don't do it publicly. Resumes versus LinkedIn profiles. LinkedIn profiles have much more credibility, and they've got a lot more space. You've got tons more space than a resume. Tens of thousands of more characters. And it's because your LinkedIn profile is public to people who know you. So the assumption is it's going to be more accurate. Now, when a recruiter has your resume and they compare it with your LinkedIn profile, their assumption is the LinkedIn profile is accurate. So if the facts on the resume and the profile don't match, the profile is believed and your resume is probably tossed out. Very important to have the facts match and be truthful. Things like employers, job titles and dates, responsibilities and accomplishments, and education. Those are so important. Make it easy for employers to find your LinkedIn profile by giving them your LinkedIn profile URL. Put that everywhere, on your resumes, your applications, your business cards, everywhere. You'll unfortunately, I say that about 4 times in this presentation, but that's because it's so important. You want to make sure if they're interested, they find the right LinkedIn profile so the facts match for them and for you. Now, building social proof on LinkedIn, this is a very important part of building your online reputation. Got to be found. So use the keywords that describe the job that you want. And those are the keywords that recruiters who are filling that job are going to use. So the job title for your target job. Now, again, you can become a slash person if company A and company B call that same job two different things. And be careful, sometimes project manager is proj manager, and sometimes it's project manager, and sometimes it's project merger, or, abbreviations are used. So pay attention, especially, hopefully you have target employers. See what your target employers are using. Do they spell out project manager, or do they abbreviate project and manager? Or do they abbreviate one of them or the other? Whatever. Pay attention to what's being used. Look at the skills required for the target job and the education required for the target job. And when you've got the skills, when you've got those skills, make them visible. If you've got that education, make it visible on your LinkedIn profile, as well as on your resume. Relevant certifications and licenses, those are great ways to add to your qualifications for a job. And your location, where you are, is very important. Now, if you want to move from here to Arizona, then, put Arizona on your LinkedIn profile. If that's your target, if that's where you want to move. And include the keywords that are appropriate for you, of course. Don't use inappropriate keywords. Now, before inviting you to the interview, they will do a Google search on your name. If they like your application or your resume, they're going to research you. They want proof you're up to date. They want to see if they can find some demonstration of your knowledge and your communication skills. How well do you communicate? They're looking for an indication of your personality. Are you grumpy? Are you silly? Would you fit in with their group? That's what they're looking for. And LinkedIn is the most trusted source. We've seen that. Now, make it easy for recruiters to find your LinkedIn profile, not someone else's. Again, put your LinkedIn profile URL everywhere. And I'll show you what the LinkedIn profile URL is in case you're mystified. And the same version of your name on your resume and your profile. Make it clear that's your profile. To be visible on LinkedIn, you want a complete LinkedIn profile. Now, LinkedIn will tell you whether or not your profile is complete. They will also want to sell you LinkedIn Premium. And if you're in a job search, LinkedIn Premium might be a good idea. The first month is free. After that, they're $30 a month. If you're a veteran or you've been active, you're active duty military, you get a year of LinkedIn Premium for free. So LinkedIn Premium can make you more visible when recruiters are searching using LinkedIn to find candidates. So LinkedIn Premium can make you more visible inside that LinkedIn search. It's pricey, however. At least I think $30 a month is pricey. You want a public LinkedIn profile, and some people make their profile public, but they make their headshot private. Don't do that. Make the headshot public too. Profiles without public photos, public headshots are ignored. And be connected. More connections are better. Do it carefully, but connect to people you know or people you know about. Confirm that somebody is real before you accept an invitation to connect. Be active in LinkedIn. Share 1 or 2 updates a week. Comment on the posts of others. And do good comments. Don't just go, yeah, or no, that's a bad idea. Add positive, relevant information. Demonstrate your knowledge. And show that you can spell well. Join and contribute to groups. Groups used to be extremely popular. Then they kind of died. Now they're a little bit more popular, and there are also groups inside of messaging as well. But there's groups around people looking for job search. There's groups people in specific industries or people in specific locations. And some of the location groups can be very helpful for your networking because employers' favorite way to hire is through an employee referral. So if you can connect on someone with LinkedIn who can give you a referral, great. That's something like 40% of the people who are referred get hired. It's a fabulous number. Follow employers who interest you. There are company pages on LinkedIn for employers, and many employers pay attention to who follows them. So if you find an employer that looks interesting to you, follow them. They'll notice, most likely. Then be reachable on LinkedIn. Pay attention to your LinkedIn profile. Complete the contact information with non-work email and phone. If you're employed, don't use your work email or your work phone number. You want a non-work email or phone number. And I'll get into how to do that if you don't want to put your home information there. Connections. Get as many connections as you can. That's so important on LinkedIn. That increases your visibility in LinkedIn search results, believe it or not, general search results. And join groups. There are private messages inside the groups too that are very useful. Then customize your LinkedIn profile URL. Most likely, if you haven't changed it, it's something like this: linkedin.com/in/Mary Elizabeth Smith -42918B10. Ugh, that's terrible. And that also shows that you haven't paid attention. Change that to Mary Elizabeth Smith or add the hyphens. Capitalization doesn't work on this one. Or add some marketing. Mary Elizabeth Smith, MBA, and area code 617, in case anybody's interested. Or Mary Elizabeth Smith, Boston. You've got a total of 100 characters available. So you can have a long one. I think 50 would be pretty long. I haven't seen very many that are 100, but that would be hard to paste into things like your business cards. So keeping it shorter is better. But the beauty of this is the URLs can be changed every 6 months if you need to. Now, I've never changed my URL and I don't plan to. Although I probably should change it to Susan P. Joyce. That would make more sense. I was just pleased to get the first Susan Joyce. I've been a LinkedIn member for like 20 years since they got started. You used to have to be invited to join LinkedIn before you could get a LinkedIn profile. You couldn't just log in and create your profile. Don't use your birthday or your birth year if a number's needed. That is such a sign, and employers and recruiters know it. So if you're Mary Elizabeth Smith, 65, they know probably you were born in 1965. Don't tell them how old you are. Now, the non-work phone number. You can use your home personal number, or you can do Google Voice. Now, Google Voice used to be free when I first started recommending it. Now it's $16 a month. But you get to choose the phone number, and they will email the voicemail to you. If a voicemail comes, they'll send you a link or they'll send you the text. You know, Google's good at making money, and they're also, this is a good service if you want to protect your home phone number and you don't have any other options to use. And I'd be careful about putting my cell phone number up there too, obviously, for the same reasons you protect your home phone number. A non-work email address. Please, 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 if you've got AOL, Yahoo, Excite, Hotmail, you're basically labeling yourself old. So get rid of AOL, Yahoo, Excite, Hotmail, etc. Colleges often will provide email addresses for free or for a low fee for alumni. There's Gmail, of course, and there's a bunch of other national providers that you can find. Do some searching if you can't use your college and you don't want to use Gmail. And put the contact information at the bottom of your About section in addition to the contact info section at the top of your profile. And I will tell you, so many recruiters have told me they love getting a phone number. They would prefer to call, and they really, if there's not a phone number, they want an email address that's outside of LinkedIn, because so often if they send an in-mail message inside of LinkedIn, they never get a response. So give them a way to reach you that they'll feel comfortable and interested in using. All right, the featured section of your profile, that's a great place to post things like your latest articles, stuff that you've added to your LinkedIn profile. And there's also some other wonderful sections. Publications. Have you printed anything? Have you published anything? Projects. Did you work on projects in your job? List the projects, especially if they're relevant to the job you want next. There's so many things that you can do with projects, and you can have more than one project. Volunteering. Volunteering is a great way to fill time if you're unemployed. It's also a great way to build your network, a great way to show the kind of person you are, what you're interested in, and, to keep current and busy. Other professional organizations, add those. Languages. If you can speak and communicate in more than one language, you can have a LinkedIn profile in each language. And that's the only way you can legitimately have more than one LinkedIn profile. And now they're adding and encouraging people to add videos to most LinkedIn sections. So if you're comfortable doing that, do it. So be visible and findable on LinkedIn. It's so important. Have a public profile that's public on LinkedIn and public off LinkedIn. That's in the settings for privacy. So make sure it's public off LinkedIn as well, because that means Google can find it, and so can the other search engines. You want to keep your profile up to date using up-to-date keywords. So back when I got my MBA is in MIS. Well, nobody uses the term MIS anymore, at least nobody current does. The new term is IT, so that would be the term to use. If MIS was your field a while ago, now your field is IT. Pay attention to that. Headshot should always be visible. Never make it private. Your full name should be visible. And skills and endorsements are very important inside LinkedIn Recruiter, which is the service that LinkedIn sells to recruiters to find people. Now, recruiters can search LinkedIn with Google, or they can search LinkedIn with LinkedIn Recruiter. Using LinkedIn Recruiter obviously costs them money. Using Google doesn't. But skills and endorsements are very important for LinkedIn Recruiter. That makes you much more visible. So list the skills and then get endorsed for them. And you can get endorsed for them by endorsing somebody else's skills. They'll come back and endorse yours. Be sure you have a complete education, location, and industry section. Very, very important to complete those sections. And the other thing recruiters love, in addition to phone numbers, and actually probably more importantly than phone numbers, are recommendations. So you want to have at least 4 recommendations from people you worked for, hopefully, or people you worked with, who can legitimately and with credibility endorse your skills, and can make recommendations that are believable. My recommendation is to have at least 500 plus connections. That makes you so much more visible inside LinkedIn search results. Join the relevant and appropriate groups and follow those target employer company pages. And of course, good spelling is required.
So, Susan, can we go back to that LinkedIn slide?
Sure. This
Great.
one?
So, Yep. So I do have questions on LinkedIn for some folks.
Yep.
Let's see here. Quite a few questions. I might not be able to get to all of them just in the interest of time. We can always circle back to some at the end. So you mentioned having, let's see, it's right here on the screen, have a complete education, location, and industry. Regarding education, someone asks, um, when filling out online applications or LinkedIn, you are prompted for dates of college graduation. In terms of avoiding telling your age, how do you avoid this?
Well, on LinkedIn, you don't have to put the year in.
Okay.
When it comes to, completing somebody's uh,
Sometimes,
website,
sometimes with
that can be
online
different.
job applications, it is required.
Yeah, it's not required on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Similar question, Joanna asks, how far back should we go with employment history on LinkedIn?
I wouldn't go back further than 20 years unless there's something really extraordinary that you did 20 years ago that's relevant to what you want to do now.
Yeah.
And some people will say 10 or 15 years.
Tanya asks, so you encourage people to customize their LinkedIn URL. But Tanya asks, if I customize my LinkedIn URL now, will the old one still work for people who have it?
That's a good question. I'd like to think that it would, that they would do the forwarding, but I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that. But I guess it depends on how long you've used the old URL and how widely distributed it is. Um, it's much smarter to have the new one, and maybe you can go back and reconnect with a bunch of people and say, by the way, here's my new LinkedIn URL.
Yeah.
But I would definitely recommend changing it and updating it.
Just a comment from someone. I no longer trust LinkedIn. There is so much spam on there now. I canceled my LinkedIn premium due to this. Any comments on the spam on LinkedIn?
No, I tend to agree. There is a lot of spam on LinkedIn. Um, but um, it's still so important to recruiters that it's not avoidable. I wish they would do a better job um, of sorting that out, but they haven't yet. I mean, Microsoft owns it, so I assume they have the intelligence to do that, but they're not, at least not yet.
So lots of other questions, but not necessarily pertinent to LinkedIn. So I think we can move on. I would just note, though, regarding the spam question, completely agree with the questioner. However, don't leave LinkedIn altogether. I mean, I
Absolutely.
get spam phone calls. I still use my phone. I get spam emails. I still use my email. So it's unfortunately something you just kind of have to deal with. But I do agree with you. It is getting a bit out of hand. All right. So Susan, you can continue on to the next portion of your presentation, and I will circle back with any questions I missed.
Okay. So online reputation management success strategies. Managing your online reputation. Focus on that. Keep your LinkedIn profile up to date and active. Monitor your online reputation, and by that I mean defensive Googling, at least monthly. Clean up the digital dirt that is removable. Not all of it is removable, but if you can push it off the first page of Google search results, that's a definite plus. Make private what or delete or make private what you can. As you know, if there's something you've posted on a website or something someone else has posted on a website that's inappropriate or incorrect, contact the website and ask them to remove it. You can also reach out to Google to remove stuff from Google search results. Now, this isn't blanket. I mean, you can't go and get LinkedIn removed from Google search results. But there are a whole bunch of things that you can get removed from Google search results. And there's how you do it. Or just type in remove inappropriate content in a Google search. And then push the unremovable dirt off the first page of search results with as much positive content as you can. And do your best not to create more dirt, although certainly other people will be, and other websites will be creating dirt. Hopefully not about you, but it's how life is these days. Removing social media dirt. This is from Norton. And this seems like a very good idea. Find all your social media accounts, make accounts private until okay to be public, delete inappropriate posts and comments that you've made, delete any unused accounts or deactivate them, clean up your followers and friends. That's a great idea. Unfollow or block inappropriate accounts, use appropriate profile pictures, and routinely update your passwords. So that's a good idea. So people can't, if they know your password, they can't get on and create all kinds of garbage for you. So that's from Norton. And they've got articles on how to protect yourself. So does AARP. AARP does a wonderful job on this kind of information as well. Biggest LinkedIn mistakes: no LinkedIn profile, skimpy or unfocused profile, misspellings, private profile, no contact information, and few connections. And LinkedIn gives you a wonderful opportunity to research employers. What do they call the job you want? What do the people who do that job, what's their education, what's their experience? There's so much information you can connect and connections that you can make. Do not post your home address anywhere. Post your home phone number. Post the names and ages of your kids and other relatives. Trash anyone or anything. And don't post political content unless your job is political. Don't accept every LinkedIn invitation to connect, because there are definitely fake LinkedIn profiles. Do not accept or reject invitations to connect without checking the profiles first. Focus on connections in your field, profession, and the employers you've had and the employers you want. But I'll never forget the guy a few years ago who he had a blog. He was a job seeker and he had a nice blog, and he lived in downtown Boston, and he had pictures of his kids outside his home, and the names and obviously the ages of his daughters. And I was like, don't do that. And don't ignore LinkedIn. I mean, I'll admit right now I'm kind of ignoring LinkedIn. My husband just recently died, and I'm kind of recovering from all that. So it's taking me a while to get reconnected, but doing this presentation is helping me get reconnected. So, questions? Thank you for the hearts.
Well, Susan, first of all, I'm so sorry your husband passed away. That I did not realize that. So, thank you thank you for doing this for us, given the circumstances. I remember you speaking about him previously. I'm sure he was a wonderful person. So,
It was.
yeah, thank you for. We're very sorry for your loss, and thanks for, in light of that, especially, thank you for doing this. So we definitely have some questions that we haven't gotten to. I'm going to go into the Q&A first, and then I'll go into the chat. Let's see here. Anonymous attendee asks, listening to this makes me wonder about situations where people do have an issue in their past. Not someone with the same name, but their name. They're the problem. Is quote unquote problem. Is someone like that doomed? Assuming they have reformed or just made a bad mistake in their past, is there anything they can do?
Well, I would change the name that was used and associated with the past event and use a different name to separate yourself from that visibility. Um, yeah, I mean that would still be the best strategy to use, because even if you've moved on from that, the assumption isn't going to be made that you have moved on from it. So I would change the name being used.
Right. So maybe Susan Joyce becomes Sue Joyce, or maybe you use your first two initials in Joyce, or
Yeah, or I add
hyphenate
my
last
maiden
name. Yeah.
I add my maiden name or something. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Susie Joyce, whatever.
Sure. Sure. Anonymous attendee asks, how does one get rid of wrong biographical information some fast search platforms have on you? For example, one says that you're a high school graduate when you actually have a master's degree. They further explain, I use two names, one in my professional and birth name, and the other is my married name. So they use their birth name in professional settings and their married name in town and civic matters. The married name does not have any professional information online attached to it, so it comes with all sorts of wrong personal information in general Google searching. So, how do I get rid of the wrong info someone else just puts out there? Also, how do I get rid of old YouTube performances that someone else put up that I may no longer want on YouTube?
Well, if there's stuff up there that you didn't post up there that you want removed, I would ask the person who posted it to remove it. If they don't respond, then I would ask YouTube if they would remove it. I don't know if YouTube will, but they might. It's not clear to me. I mean, who is it who owns YouTube? Is it Google that owns YouTube?
I believe it is.
Yeah, so um, they might respond well. That's something to look into. When it comes to having basically two identities, if you want to keep those completely separate, I guess you can go ahead and do that. I'm not sure exactly what the question about that was, whether they should do that or shouldn't, or what was the question?
Yeah, so it was kind of a two-part question, the one about the YouTube performance clips, but then also the fact that they basically go by two names. They use their birth name for their profession, and they use their married name for
For their
like,
city.
yeah, yeah. And so the married name, for whatever reason, just there's bad information out there about it, incorrect information. For example, that they don't have a college degree, so she's just
Well, the,
trying to
the
rectify that.
the place that is showing that you don't have a college degree, I would reach out to them and see if you can correct it. Um, and if your LinkedIn profile with that name shows that you have a college degree, that's more likely to be believed.
Yeah. Let's see. Anonymous attendee says many of us are just not good at networking, and so getting 500 plus connections and getting recommendations on LinkedIn can be daunting. What do you suggest we do?
Well, I'll have to admit I'm not uh, someone who likes to be real sociable either, but there's just sometimes you need to just reach out.
Yep.
So I would work on that because I don't know another way around it. Um, yeah, reach out, and it's surprising many of us feel that way. Probably most of us feel that way. So reaching out to somebody you worked with in the past, that can be a good thing. I mean, you can reconnect on, or you can connect on LinkedIn. You can give each other recommendations or references or endorsements for skills. And I had a friend recently who was expanding her LinkedIn profile, and she reached out to somebody she'd worked with like 10 or 15 years ago to just kind of reconnect and say hello and let him know that she was in a job search, and they had a job that was open and she got it. So, networking is not easy, I think, for most of us, but it's very important.
Jumping back to the email point you made about having Gmail or maybe even using a college issued email address. Wayne notes that he has Verizon, and they give.
Verizon's okay.
Well, so what he's saying though is that recently Verizon has gotten rid of their Verizon.net, and now all Verizon customers have been given AOL email addresses.
No.
So right. So Wayne, even though Verizon gives you an email address, that doesn't stop you from creating a Gmail one for your job search purposes.
Right.
So
I highly recommend that. Just having AOL, just like,
yeah, right.
not a good idea.
Yeah, and let's see. We'll start to wind down here. Anonymous attendee asks, how can we leverage AI, artificial intelligence, to boost our online reputation, our online positioning?
Oh, there's probably a million ways to do that.
That's a whole other presentation, Susan, but you want to give
Yes.
it 15 seconds? What are your quick initial thoughts?
Well, I know there's a lot of help going on with AI will help you write things better, so you can do a better resume, but you can also do maybe a better summary on LinkedIn.
Right.
I mean, there's so many tools. What you type in your text from your LinkedIn profile about section, type that in or copy it and plug it into AI and ask AI to improve it and see what it does. It's interesting. I've heard from recruiters that they're looking for tools that will help them identify when something has been modified by AI, but I'm not sure how they do that, and I'm not sure how effective that would be. Maybe that's the next problem we all face, but sure, plug things into AI and see if they will improve the the writing.
So I'm going to leave a couple on the cutting room floor. I apologize for not getting to everyone's questions, but we did really well here. I want to give Susan a big virtual round of applause for a great presentation. Susan, any last words for the audience before we wrap things up?
Well, I just know that recruiters, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish you all a lot of luck, and I know recruiters are feeling they're feeling desperate now. So hopefully that will make job search a bit easier, but have that LinkedIn profile supporting you and pushing anything bad down off the top of Google search results.
Yeah, all great advice. For those folks making questions and comments about AI, you'll all be employed by then. But in about 2 months, we are going to have a talk on AI and how you can use it to improve your job search. So I don't want to shortchange that conversation. Like I said, that could be an entirely different presentation, and we will have one in about 2 months. So stay tuned for that. All right, so for folks watching live, look for an email from me later today with a link to the recording. I'm going to attach the slides as a PDF, and I will include the chat, and I will have information about some other upcoming virtual programs for job seekers. I would note that next Wednesday, 9:30, Breaking Through Self-Doubt, a guide to overcoming imposter syndrome with Linda Ugolo. She always does a great job. Also, for those watching live, please take the feedback survey when you exit. So thank you all so much, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thanks again, Susan.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.